Continuing in Copenhagen, each country in attendance has its own particular priorities and concerns. Here's a look at some of the agendas on hand at the Danish capital.
Washington's failure to pass climate change legislation has meant a delay in a deal at Copenhagen. The U.S. may still pledge to cut emissions about 17% by 2020, while offering funding of low-carbon initiatives for poorer countries to draw them to agreement. The U.S. also wants other countries, mainly China and India, to commit on when their greenhouse gas emissions will peak, and will demand stringent standards for reporting, monitoring and verification of emissions and reductions. China has pledged to curb carbon emissions by 40 to 45% by 2020. It signals China's interest in agreement at Copenhagen. Such a deal could bring the country benefits, more funding and technology transfers from developed nations, and as an exporter of solar power and wind power equipment, increased demand for its products. What China dreads most is the end of Kyoto provisions, the grant-tradable credits for reducing emissions. China has been the top receiver for the credits, getting almost 60% of the total. India has long resisted the imposition of carbon emissions caps. New Delhi says it is ready to cut emissions intensity 20% to 25% by 2020, but will not accept legally binding targets. India argues that it needs economic growth before considering fixed emission caps. India says the developed world has a historic responsibility to take more restrictive measures because it caused decades of atmospheric damage. India also favors financing and technology transfers to boost green energy solutions. Climate change is not high on Russia's agenda. Moscow's attention is on the massive investment it needs to make industrial infrastructure more energy efficient. The goal is a 40% improvement in energy efficiency by 2020. Russia is willing to reduce emissions between 20 to 25% from 1990 levels. Russia will join a post-Kyoto agreement only if other countries sign up for it and if Russian forests' contribution to reducing global carbon dioxide is taken into account. The 27-member European Union aims to speak with one voice in Copenhagen. Its goal taking action that would limit global warming to 2 degrees Celsius. The EU intends to cut CO2 emissions 20% by 2020 from 1990 levels and is willing to raise that target to 30% if other countries commit to do their part.